Okay. I'm live. I'm live. I'm live. Yeah, I'm not live on my big channel. And the reason is Operation Epstein Fury. By the way, that that term was mentioned 90,000 times in the first 3 days of the war. Operation Epstein Fury. Now, I wonder why people would be saying that over and over and over again. I can guess. I can take a swag at it. Swag is a Marine Corps term. For those of you who were not lucky enough to serve in the Marine Corps, the Marine Corps has a term called swag. It's what you do when you are completely and utterly confused, outnumbered, outgunned. Let's say that you're running low on ammo, water, food, and toilet paper. You use swag. And what is swag? Swag is a scientific wild ass guess to get yourself out of that situation. That is swag. This, by the way, is the world. For those of you who don't recognize this, this is where we live. It's over here. This area right in here, all of this area right in here, this is where we're starting wars. This is we're at war with everybody, except for here. We are not at war with New Zealand yet. But give us a little time. You fucking Kiwis, you know what you've done. We're going to come over there and we're going to freedom the fuck out of you. Oh, we don't vote for anybody anymore. No. See, there was this thing where this guy came along. Nobody liked him, really. He said he was going to go to hell for the things that he'd done. And yet somehow or another, we voted for him. This should be an interesting call. My ex-wife. Hello, darling. You're wondering why I said it that way. Well, I'm on a live stream with a whole lot of people watching, so I figured if I'm going to answer a call from my beautiful ex-wife, I should probably be really polite. Yeah. Yeah, you're famous now. By the way, it was about going to the movies to see Hail Mary with that guy that you like, the actor. I forget his name. Usually quiet, kind of brooding, good actor. But anyway, I saw a reviewer that is a hard ass reviewer. I mean, hard ass reviewer. And he loved it. He said it was Hail Mary. It's about, it's a very sciencey thing. It's where this weird stuff is somehow engulfing the sun and slowly choking the sun. And it's this stuff that seems to be spreading throughout the universe, but we've identified a couple of other places where it's not choking out the sun, other solar systems. So we send a guy there, and it's his story about how he goes there to try to find out why this other sun is immune to this crap so he can come back and save the entire solar system. It's kind of like The Martian in a way. And I know that Bo absolutely loved The Martian. Like he wanted to join Space Force afterwards because of that. But comedy. Comedy too. Yeah, they said there's a much more, but without being campy or stupid, the comedy is sort of natural, but it's also a very smart movie with great dialogue. So there you go. And by the way, almost the entire movie is just that one guy that you like. I forget his name. So yeah, it's the guy. We watched a movie called I think Drive, and we were shocked because normally he plays like a romantic type, and in this movie he played a guy who was kind of a bad dude, man. He was really like broken. I forget his name, but um, oh, I forgot. I'm on TikTok with probably like the smartest people on TikTok. So if I say the movie Drive, somebody Ryan Gosling, that's right. See, I didn't even have to rely on them. So basically, the whole movie's him. Yeah, it's and the guy said it's just fantastic. It's the kind of movie that Hollywood needs to make more often now because they used to make movies like this and they don't anymore. And I thought, okay, I'm sold. So I will call you in an hour when I'm done with this live stream. Okay, bye. Now, I know not everybody gets along with their ex the way I do, but that's because I don't see the value in being me. And, and the other thing is, I'm also mentally retarded. So I'm very literal, extremely literal, to the point where if somebody says, I don't think this is working out, I go, okay. And then I go file for a divorce. And then they go, what are you doing? And I go, well, you said it wasn't working. Yeah, it's not. People go, oh wow, what's it like to have a ridiculously high IQ? It's a total pain in the ass. Hate speech. I just got a warning for hate speech. What? I don't get it. Oh, because I said the R word about myself. Oh wow, that's so weird, isn't it? I just got in trouble for calling myself a name. Wow. Boy, talk about a bunch of really like sissies. That's crazy. Literally, they won't even let you make fun of yourself. Yeah. That's crazy. Anyway, so yeah, go see Hail Mary because apparently it is a really good movie. The Critical Drinker, the Scottish film critic, who absolutely destroyed Disney almost single-handedly. As a matter of fact, they tried to get him banned from YouTube. They were going to sue him, but they can't sue him for his opinion. But he is extremely good at breaking down movies and like what's necessary, what's not necessary, why did they put this, how does this help the emotional arc, and stuff like that. So he loved it. So, and I found that if he likes a movie, it's usually pretty good. The Rings of Power, he said, was one of the worst shows he'd ever seen, and it turns out that they didn't even finish it. Then when I say Disney, they just dropped it. Let Us See the Pup. They are outside brawling right now. They are going at it. Yeah, hard. They're having fun. I have two 100-pound, give or take, dogs, depending on whether or not they've eaten that day. 200 pounds of German Shepherd and Doberman. And then I have a terrier, which is technically not mine. It's my daughter's. So it's, I don't know, 8 pounds of fury. Maybe not even that. Maybe 6 pounds of fury. And that's who's out there terrorizing my big dogs. She is, yeah, she's out there trying to rip their faces off right now. And it's really funny because every once in a while, no, 200 pounds combined. It's 100-pound German Shepherd, 100-pound Doberman. Yeah, no, a 200-pound German Shepherd would probably not live very long. The hip dysplasia that they suffer from. Now, you get the narrow hip, kind of ones that look squatty in the back. those are German Shepherds, and they have been inbred to the point where hip dysplasia is a huge problem with them. And you get the ones that have a flat back and a very wide set of hips. Those are American German Shepherds, and they have been bred to have bigger, wider, stronger hips. Yeah. Cane Corsos are some of the laziest, most worthless dogs. They're sweet, but they just don't do anything unless they're trying to kill you. That's it. So if you want, I have had Rottweilers. I've had Doberman. It's just one of those things where, I like big dogs. The biggest dog I've ever had, her name was Maddie, and she was part Great Dane and part Saint Bernard. And she weighed 190 pounds, and she was massive. And I'm really glad, because I had two little girls at the time. I'm really, really glad that I found a sweet little old lady who needed a dog, because Maddie was, I remember one day coming in and she was so happy to see me, and she swung around and I watched that tail going through the air, and I looked to the side and my 2-year-old daughter walked out of the hallway into the entryway because she heard Daddy come home. And I thought, oh, fuck. And bam, she got hit with that tail and it just flattened her. And, Maddie was obviously not trying to hurt her. She looked mortified that she'd knocked her down, but that does not mean it didn't hurt. When your dog knocks you down. I remember once my dog tripped me. I had a German Shepherd growing up, and he was a big sucker. And I remember running around the corner of my garage, tripping over him and falling onto one of those steel mats where you wipe the mud off your boots. And the steel mat hit me right in the hand and just cut the shit out of my hand, big slices all over my hand. And I remember when I got up, the dog started crying like it had gotten hurt. And it wasn't hurt at all, but it saw that it hurt me and just freaked out. And that was the first time. I think I was probably 7 or 8 years old. That was the first time I realized, like, holy shit, dogs are just like us. Like, they have emotions. They have a soul. They think about us. They don't just think about themselves. That was the first time that actually went through my mind. Because, when you're a kid, you just play with dogs. You don't really think about it. Yeah, they're your little buddies, but you think of them more as like a toy. That at that moment, I realized this dog's not a toy. This dog is actually concerned about my well-being. It's like, whoa, that's pretty cool. And then, of course, they saw Old Yeller, and fuck, I was ruined. That was it. I was done. I was a dog owner from then on. Of course, being in the Marine Corps, you learn to love dogs as well, obviously. In World War II, apparently we used Dobermans quite a bit because they're extremely fast. They've got very good hearing, and they're very alert. So, and they don't bark much. And I noticed that about mine. My German Shepherd will bark if somebody's walking around too close to the driveway, but the Dobie doesn't bark. He just sits back very quietly. It's almost like he's lying in wait, which is awesome. Because if somebody does decide to break into my house, I certainly don't want to kill them. That's not neighborly. On the other hand, I do want to make it an unhappy enough experience that they choose not to do it again. And I think having to have your ass stitched up after getting a series of rabies shots, etc., that's probably a good deterrent. So, okay, let's talk about the book. Let's talk about the. Let's jump on here and look at Silver real quick. Okay, let's pull this up. Let's open this bad boy up, open. Okay, open. There we go. We got a cell signal. We got a sell signal at 85. All right, we're just bouncing. We're just bouncing around. RSI is dropping. MACD is not looking good. It's broadening, which is a negative sign. So right now, could this change? Yeah, this could change in 10 minutes. I'm like 2 minute. I'm on the 2 minute. So I mean, you have to understand, I'm not looking at this from the macro standpoint, because if you're actually worried about silver on the macro, I can't help you. Like you don't have enough common sense for someone to actually bother with. And I mean that honestly. I'm not trying to be a jackass. I'm just saying, if you don't understand that silver and gold are something that you absolutely have to own, you've swallowed so much Kool-Aid in your life that you are absolutely, utterly worthless to anyone except big corporations, because you are the perfect consumer, but you're no longer a citizen at all. So I am really pushing hard at coming up with the book, the list, everything for the survival, because I just got this bad feeling, and the irony of not being able to put this out before the first nuke goes off. And do I personally think that it's possible that this could go nuclear? Absolutely. Absolutely. There, you see, you have to understand something. When this is over, Netanyahu goes to jail. You guys realize that? I mean, do you understand how deep a shit he's in his own country? How many court cases he's facing? It makes what Donald Trump went through look like nothing. And Donald Trump got convicted of 34 felonies, but well, nukes are nothing but a scare tactic for a rational government. Again, as I'm explaining right now, these people are not rational. Okay? These are not rational actors. When you talk about the economics of warfare, when you talk about the fact that we're spending billions of dollars an hour right now, and that those billions of dollars are coming out of your pocket and my pocket. And what is it for? Well, it's clearly for the military industrial complex. It's clearly for the oil industry. Name two industries that are bigger and more powerful than the power industry itself, oil and gas, and the military industrial complex, which supports the first one. Those are the two most powerful groups of human beings on the planet. They make governments do their bidding. Period. The Rothschilds? Yeah, the Rothschilds are bankers. What the fuck are bankers? They're people who invest their money into oil, gas, war. Think about it, guys. So normally, there's only two types of war. There's total war, which is rare. A total war it's a rare thing, but it does happen. The United States government against the Native Americans, total war. That was a total war. Destroy their infrastructure, destroy their culture, destroy their history, destroy everything. That's what we were trying to do. When you're taking over someone else's area, you've got to destroy whatever was there before. So, okay, that's a total war. World War One, not a total war. Pew, 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 shooting back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Oh, look, the lines are going. Oh, look, the lines are. Okay, so that's not a total war. That's a war of economics. That's a war about money. Well, you think that they stopped World War One and went in and took those fields over and started growing crops on them? They were completely toxic, completely covered in mines. It probably took 30 years to demine them, at which point World War II was on. So my point is this: when you go to total war, you're trying to absolutely destroy the enemy completely and utterly forever. Okay? Now, who are you trying to destroy in Iran? Persians? The Persian Empire that has been there for 3,500 years, since 1500 BC, since the beginning of Judaism? No. There are too many Persians around the world. So you're not going to destroy that. You're trying to destroy the modern state of Iran. Okay, well, the problem with that is who's going to actually go in and do that? Because now you're talking about a real war. So what are we doing here? Well, clearly, we're just there hanging out. The United States of America is just there hanging out. So who's not there just hanging out? Israel. Israel wants to completely and utterly destroy Iran, Persia, the Kurds, everything. And we're just riding along. We're just along for the fucking ride here. And that's the problem, is that their goal is not our goal. Their goal is to absolutely eviscerate this entire country, destroy them, pull them out, stem and root. 93 million people. Folks, that's crazy. That's completely insane. So, so we're not going to do that. However, the moment this is over, the Republicans are destroyed. Now, I get it. Some people are smart enough to realize that the Republicans are not in this alone. It's our entire government. Everything about this government, from stem to stern, port, starboard, everything in between, it's fucked. These hippie, dipshit, woke, tri-gender, whatever idiots are so pro-war that it's shocking. They'll kick me off this platform for making fun of my own intelligence because it's not nice. But they're totally okay with the fact that we blew up a school for children on day one with our first strike. What? How's that work? I have to be careful about what I say. When I go out in public, if I misgender somebody, if I get their pronouns incorrect, I'm a dick. But you can be completely like Cory Booker. Cory Booker, what are you doing, bro? Cory, my man, what's up? Doesn't have a word to say about this war. Not a word. Well, now, he did get $5 million from AIPAC. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. After we win, well, if you're still alive, Remember, it took us 15 years to lose the war in Iraq. It took us almost 20 years to lose the war in Afghanistan. Both those countries combined have 1/4 of the population of Iran. And together, they're about 1/4 of the size of Iran. Oh, I see. So if you misgender somebody on purpose, then you're a bad person. But if you vote for dropping bombs on a girls' school and murdering 185 children, then you're okay. That is the kind of logic that Californians have. I was born and raised in Hollywood. I know. And it's disgusting. It's sad. It's humiliating, actually. Oh, well, you can't misgender somebody, because if you misgender somebody, you're going to hurt their feelings. But you can arbitrarily start dropping bombs all over a country that you've never been to because they are a threat, maybe. It's called war. No, it's not called war. It's not called war. Because remember, war has rules. This is just a military engagement. Because if you actually declare war like you're supposed to through Congress, well, then you got rules. Like, I don't know, war profiteering. You can't just build something that doesn't work and then charge 400,000% of what it costs to fix it. Yeah. Bottom line is, the video of Iran. Oh my God, you are an idiot. Jesus Christ, really? Short boy, that's so sad. Yeah, so the Iranians blew up their own school. And by the way, they double tapped it. And guess what? Russia blew up their own pipeline. Yeah, they blew up their own pipeline. You know why? Because they were making too much money. And you see, Russians don't understand money. So they said to themselves, let's see. Right now, we're at war with the Ukraine. We should do something that hurts us financially. Yeah, that's what we should do. Some of the things that people actually believe absolutely stun me. Somebody just said Jesus Christ is Lord. Now, I'm not going to point out that there was this guy, his name was Jesus, and he said, "Put no man before God, not even me." That's the quote. But obviously, idiot boy said, no, Jesus is the Lord. That would defeat the purpose of coming here. You can't sacrifice yourself if you're completely and utterly beyond being born or dying. But that's okay. You don't get that. What about all the people that Iran has killed? Okay, name some. Seriously, name some. How about this? Name the amount of Americans killed by Iranians in the last 30 years. The protesters. Oh, one is too many. Really? Is that how you feel about Iranians? Because we killed 185 children, just like that. And we've probably killed thousands of Iranians now, more than the bad guys did. So if the good guys kill more innocent people than the bad guys, who are the bad guys? Oh, because you don't actually know who Iran's killed. See, that's the problem. This is like, look at, can you guys just think about this for a second? Remember IEDs? Yeah, I was anti-tank assault and demolitions in the Marine Corps. Oh my God. Well, no, you obviously don't know me. They bombed their own school, of course. It's amazing to me how stupid people are. So IEDs are okay. Where were these IEDs? These IEDs you're talking about, are you talking about Iraq? Because Iraq, that's Sunni Muslims, and they hate Shia Muslims. Or are you talking about Afghanistan, who learned to do IEDs from the Iraqis? Or are you talking about maybe Saddam Hussein, who had nothing to do with 9/11? Or are you talking about Osama bin Laden, who was trained by the CIA? See, when you guys just accept whatever you see on TV news, you are victims. You don't even realize it. Like you're being fed horse shit and you just don't get it. You don't understand. You are tools. Your job is literally to just shut up, eat your goy slop, okay? Be good little non-humans, make lots of money, as much as possible for your little teeny non-human brains, because you're Gentiles, and then give as much of that to the government as possible. Don't look for tax breaks. Tax breaks are for the smart people. You're not smart people. Your job is to simply just provide. If you think the Matrix was a joke or science fiction, you are the Matrix. You are the little ant people. You're the peasants who nobody gives a shit about. And literally, you're defending the people who are using you. That's the sad part. It's like Stockholm syndrome. You are literally defending your own abusers. Where am I getting my information from? Literally hundreds of sources. Oh, what should I just rely on PMS NBC? Should I just go to Fox? Yeah, I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to. Skip going straight to. Oh yeah, CNN. There's a good one. CNN. Who owns CNN, by the way? Does anybody know who owns CNN? What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to do your own homework, and this time, don't sit on your ass. Tommy, you're an idiot. You make me sick. Murdoch, Turner, they haven't owned CNN for years. God, you guys are just so head up your ass. Larry Ellison, Larry Ellison's son, Larry Ellison, by the way, who owns Oracle, started with the help of the CIA. That actually says that. That's not misinformation. It says that on their website. So, hey, see, I got restricted for even talking about this, but I'm going to keep talking about it until they kick me off. Larry Ellison's son just bought Sundance, Paramount, CNN, ESPN, what else? You name it. I mean, they own CBS. They own CBS now. Now, who are the Ellisons? Well, the Ellisons are the largest private contributors to the Israeli Defense Forces. Yeah, you can actually, in the United States, you can't just donate money to the Marine Corps. That's your tax money. But in Israel, you can actually privately donate money directly to the IDF. Larry Ellison donated $100 million last year. $100 million. And now he's in control of this platform, TikTok, and all of those places I just named, like CBS and CNN. Think about it, guys. Everything that you're seeing and hearing is probably bullshit. It's all bullshit. So, what do? You go to the places that are not advertised, the ones that don't get tons and tons of views, and you look and you go, okay, that doesn't make sense. Oh, that does. Okay, I'll give you an example. Russia makes hundreds of millions of dollars a week on a pipeline where they provide gas to Europe. Now, Europe does not like what Russia's doing in Ukraine, but man, they need this gas. So they're being very careful about how they talk too much shit to Russia because they don't want to get cut off from the gas. And then the pipeline gets blown up. Well, now Russia doesn't have any more leverage over Europe. No more leverage over France or Germany. No more leverage over England because they can't provide all that gas anymore. Well, now, who would do that? Well, if you're a fucking idiot, you would believe that Russia did it to themselves. Because that's what I would do right before I ran a half marathon. I'd stab myself in the fucking quad with a pencil. Yeah, just cuz. It makes it more interesting. It's so hard to imagine that people are that stupid that it gives me a glimpse into why Jews look at Goyim and see dumb farm animals. Because a lot of people in this country, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. The average IQ I get, it's 100. And that means that half of the people in this country have IQs under 100. Think about that. That's a terrifying thought, isn't it? Just average. Just being an average person, that's 100. That means that literally 165 million people in this country, 330 million people, 165 million people are not even average intelligence. Now, I know you're thinking, okay, so yeah, those are the Trump people. Those are the born again Christian, born again virgin, born again social media people who, just scroll all day and they have no idea what's true. Sadly, that's not actually the case. What's true is that if you look at some of these people that are woke, these people that are supposed to be, the enlightened ones, their logic is so fractured, so new culture we've got in the United States. It's designed specifically for idiots to survive. Yeah, that's true. It's designed for morons. It's designed for people who have no principles. They're not honest. They are completely devoid of moral fabric. But they're pretty. Now, the way that our brain works, we still see symmetry in a face, we see beauty, and we think intelligence. And that's something that we're born with. They've done lots of studies with school kids, and they've put 2 teachers in front of them. And ask which one they thought was smarter without the teachers ever teaching them anything. And they always pick the pretty one, or in case of men, the more handsome one. They just see that symmetry as a sign of evolution, which, if you think about it, is actually pretty damn funny, because that's not always true. But again, it doesn't matter if it's true. What matters is if you believe it or not. If you buy it, that's all that matters. So, do I think that? I don't think Trump's destroying the system. Well, if think about this, it says here Trump's destroying the system, but Iran cannot have nukes. Nobody should have nukes. I guarantee you that Iran will have nukes now. And I guarantee you that there are other powers in the region that will now seek to have nukes, because there's a lesson here. Okay? This is the tale of two countries. One country is Libya. Libya was getting close to having a nuclear weapons program. And we said, look, Gaddafi, come into the Brotherhood of Nations. Drop all that shit. It's time to become one of us. And he said, okay, fair enough. Got rid of his nuclear weapons program. We went in, we inspected, we said, yes, he actually did. It's great. And then we fomented a civil war where he got a broomstick shoved up his ass in a public market while he was being beaten to death. Okay, well, that's fun. Then you have the opposite. And the opposite, of course, is North Korea, who very quietly started a nuclear program. We thought they might have one, but we weren't really sure. It's such an incredibly closed country that we couldn't even sneak spies in there. Well, we couldn't sneak spies in there officially. So I am familiar. I know someone who was in North Korea and saw that they had a nuke 20 years ago, way before we knew they had nukes. We knew they had nukes. So what exactly has happened to North Korea? They've been firing missiles over Japan and firing them into the Sea of China and rattling their saber for what, 10, 15 years now? Trump got into office and said, oh, little rocket man, I'll rain fire down on you. Just like he said with Iran. Except he didn't do it in North Korea, did he? Why? Because they have a fucking nuke. That's why. Because they are a nuclear superpower. And if you fuck with them, they will start dropping nukes on Japan and South Korea. Like that. I've been in Korea. I lived there. Seoul, 26 miles. You can deliver a nuke in maybe 2 minutes. So, exactly. He said, I'll rain fire down on you. And then what did he do? He went over there. He walked into North Korea. He stepped over the line and shook little rocket man's hand, didn't he? And what ended up happening with all that? We did some trade with them. Maybe probably got a little bit of, grain that went to them, and they made sure that they didn't say anything outlandish for a while. And hey, they got recognized as a superpower. They got exactly what they wanted. Now, why did they get what they want? Do you think that the North Koreans have more people? No. Is their country bigger? No. Do they have more rockets? No. Do we like their form of government? No. Communism? Theology? Either one. We say, no, 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 it can't be like that. Those are the two things that we are supposed to be completely against. Theocratic governments where God's in charge, and communism where there is no God. Those are the two forms of government we absolutely stand against. So, why is it that we bombed the fuck out of one and we didn't touch the other one? Because they had a nuke. And everybody in the world is watching this and going, we need a nuke. Because being the United States of America's enemy is dangerous, but being their ally is fatal. Nobody gets away with that. What is a nuclear weapon? You really want me to explain the idea of literally compressing nuclear fissile material with a little bit of plutonium in the middle? When you compress it, it goes critical. You split the atoms, they blow up. We've been doing it now for what, almost 100 years. And what if the Brits were in on the whole thing? Who cares? It doesn't matter to me. I could care less. Only the radical ones. Define radical. If you're Catholic and my country kills the Pope, did you just become radicalized? You think? If you don't like your government, which, by the way, nobody here seems to like our government right now, Democrats or Republicans, what happens if Russia invades? What do you think would happen? Do you think we'd all stand around talking about how much we dislike Democrats and Republicans anymore? You have to understand that we just did everything we could possibly do to unite that country. All the different factions, all the different levels of Islam, all the different forms of Islam. If you identify as Iranian or a Persian Kurd or a Shia Muslim, which I just covered pretty much all of them. So I just came in and I just killed the leader of your religion. He wasn't just the president. He was the leader of Shia Islam. It's just fucking, God damn, Americans are fucking stupid. Oh, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating to see how many ignorant idiots are out there. And you guys are just paying your taxes. You're paying for this and just going along with it because that's what you're supposed to do. They're all radicalized as hell now. You know? Why do they scream death to America? I want to know. What do you guys really think? Who has an idea of why they say death to America? Because look, I'll show you something interesting. You probably know this, but I'm just going to show you anyway. See that? That's Iran. Okay? That's Iran over here. It's Africa. Europe. Hey, look, big old fucking ocean way up, humongous Atlantic. And then what's this way over here? On the other side of the, like, literally on the other side of the world is this other thing. Pro Streeter, that's the dumbest thing you've ever said. Literally, that's the dumbest thing you've ever said. You know, there are hundreds of thousands, probably millions of Christians in Iran, right? Did you know that? You knew that. Please, God, tell me that you knew that. God. Maybe because they hate Christians. Jesus Christ, you people really, you deserve this war. You really do. I don't even know. I don't even know what the fuck to say. It's I will tell you why they hate the United States of America. They don't. They don't. They don't hate us at all. They hate Israel. They hate Israel because Israel is trying to take over the Middle East. Israel is trying to destroy their country because Israel wants to be the most powerful country in the Middle East. And they don't like the fact that Iran has 93 million people and a booming economy. That makes them a threat. Oh, and they don't like that they're Shia because Shia are very religious. And so a Sunni Muslim can be purchased. Saudi Arabia is a perfect example. Israel just went in and bought Saudi Arabia. Hey guys, don't fuck with us. We won't fuck with you. Everything's good. And by the way, let's do a lot of business. We'll make you guys rich. And Saudi Arabia said, hey, we don't care. We just want to sell oil. We don't give a shit about anybody. That's not how the Iranians were, though. They were like, hey, man, you guys hate us. You want to destroy us, and you teach that Muslims are not human beings. Yeah. Yeah, that's what the Jews teach. So what? Well, we're not going to let you treat us like that. Oh, well, then we're going to destroy you. See how that works? The people who are trying to destroy Iran are the same people who are trying to have us destroy Iran for them. And the Iranians are not stupid. They can see that, hey, everything that the United States says about us, everything that they say that they don't like about us, makes no sense. It makes no sense. None. Well, we got to get rid of Iran. Okay, why? Well, because they're not democratic. Okay, so the religion decides who runs the country. Yeah, that's not cool. Oh, but Saudi Arabia, well, that's different. That's a king. No, it's not. There was no royal family in Saudi Arabia 150 years ago. The House of Saud, we created that. Actually, we didn't create it. The English did. They wanted one tribe to take over all of Arabia. Whoever the most brutal, ruthless, bloodthirsty, crazy fuckers were, that's who they wanted to run the country for them. And they saw that everybody was terrified of the House of Saud. And they said, okay, you guys are in charge. And the Saudis said, okay. And all of the other tribes fell into line. And that's it. And now it's Saudi Arabia. But it was just Arabia 120 years ago. Well, Paulina, that's the only way you should be allowed to have an opinion, is that, you do this and it's like, I'm just trying to help people understand. But it's crazy because there's so many people that like hold on to these belief systems that they have no receipts for. Okay, so how much history have you studied? Well, I haven't studied any history. Well, why haven't you studied any history? Well, because Ronald Reagan said it. I loved Ronald Reagan. I joined the Marine Corps because Ronald Reagan sent me a letter. No bullshit. He sent me a letter. I still have it. That's why I joined the Marine Corps, because he said any service that I wanted to join, he would be proud to have me as the number one 17-year-old, highest score on an ASVAB in the United States. And I was like, all right, that's it. And when my dad got drunk and tried to beat me up, I said, no, we're done. And he said, you're going in the Navy. So I brought home the Marine Corps recruiter the next day. Yeah, it's called cutting off your nose to spite your face. In retrospect, it was a good decision. If I'd been in the Navy, I would have been as fat then as I am now. And that's no good. Don't buy from outside America. I'm not sure what that means. And that history we're learning was from Zionist Maxwell. Well, Robert Maxwell was only alive, 80 years ago. I mean, he was born like 80, 85 years ago. So that's all post World War II. But the reality is this. Let's look at how this works. The CIA overthrew a democratically elected president, okay, in Iran. This is history. This isn't me. How can I be pro-Trump? Are you kidding me? I feel like a complete fucking asshole because I thought Trump was going to be different. I thought he was actually going to stop wars. I thought he was going to stop doing all of this bullshit. The thing is, I don't know if he's distracting from the Epstein files. It looks like it, sure does. But if he's not, he's still literally he's literally pursuing a Zionist agenda that does me zero good. Zero. How does this help me? It makes there's nothing good about this for me. I have friends that are Persian. One of my companies that I owned 30 years ago, I had two Persian partners. My two business partners were both from Iran. They both left when the Shah fell and the Ayatollah took over. Why did the Ayatollah take over? Does anybody know why the Ayatollah, the first Ayatollah Khomeini, why he took over? What that whole revolution in 79 was about when the students took the hostages? Does anybody have any idea what that was because of? Because in the 50s, when the women were wearing shorts and driving cars and going to nightclubs and voting and doing all the things that everybody else in the world did, they had an election. They elected Mossadegh. Well, who the fuck is that guy? Well, I'll tell you who he is. He's a hero because he took over as the president of Iran. And he said, look, we have a tremendous amount of a resource here that can make us all rich. Oil. And the people said, okay, fucking hit the gas, bro. Make us rich. And he said, okay, I got you. I got your back. Then he pivoted and he turned to the oil companies and said, hey, guys, I'm not going to let you have this shit for free. You know that, right? And they said, what are you talking about? And he said, well, you're going to have to pay for the oil. And they said, well, we'll pay this much. And he's like, yeah, but you're going to sell it for this much. So I want half. And they said, half? Who the fuck do you think you are? And he said, the guy with the oil. Like, it's my oil. It belongs to my country. So my country should profit from it. My people should benefit from the fact that you're taking one of our natural resources and sending it to the rest of the world. That's only fair. And the oil company said, fair, huh? You want fair, huh? Okay, we got fair for you, motherfucker. And they went straight to the CIA, a bunch of bankers and lawyers. Oh, and murderers. And they said, hey, we got a problem. This guy Mossadegh, he's not going to play ball. He's one of these socialists. And they said, socialists? Ooh, that's a pinko. He's not red. He's not a commie. Fucking commies are the worst. But pinkos, they're damn near as bad. Well, what should we do with him? Well, we got to fucking run him out of the country. We got to get him the fuck out of there. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Well, the same way we do everywhere. I mean, we overthrow countries all the time. It's kind of what we do. So we'll take care of it. Sure as shit, next thing you know, Mossadegh's run out of the country under threat of death. And then who takes over? The Shah? The Shah of Iran? What the fuck is the Shah of Iran? Oh, the Shah of Iran is a guy who was educated in the United States and in England. Oh, well, does he want his country to become enriched from all of that oil? No. I'm sorry. No. No. He wants to enrich himself to the tune of billions and billions and billions of dollars, none of which is shared with the people. Oh, so what happens? Well, there's a lot of people who are not real happy about this. A lot of people who are kind of upset. And then there's a small group of people who are extraordinarily upset. But not really. Not really. Well, who are they? Oh, those are the radical mullahs. Those are the radical Shia. Those are the guys who wear nothing but black. And they talk in terms of religion and Allah and what Muhammad said and what Allah would want for this country. Oh, well, fuck, those guys are dangerous in every country, whether they're Christian or Jew or Muslim. Yeah, they're always dangerous for every country. Luckily, when times are good, nobody listens to those clowns. Oh, you get a cult here and a cult there. You know, every once in a while, a cult pops up, or Jim Jones goes down to Guyana and drinks a bunch of Kool-Aid with 1,000 people. That sucks, but whatever. Tiny little fraction of fucking weirdos. Well, when does something like that become really prevalent? When does something like that really take root and explode? When everybody's miserable. Oh, well, guess what? Everybody became miserable under the Shah. And why is that? Well, the Shah had this thing he loved to do called torture. If he suspected that you weren't on his side 100% of the time, you might be disappeared. As a matter of fact, his secret police were absolutely world renowned for disappearing people. So by the mid 70s, he had tortured and killed enough people, and enough of the normal folks in Iran were tired enough of what he was doing that when this radical guy, this Ayatollah, came along and preached freedom from this westernized Jewish sort of dictatorship, people were like, okay, I'm in. And that was it. And then they took over and they did what theocracies do. They told everybody how to dress. how to talk, how to walk, where to go, when to go. Look at a perfect example. Now they're not nearly as bad anymore as they were, but look at look at Afghanistan. Afghanistan is, I mean, in a way, Afghanistan is almost comical, and I say almost because the truth is it's horrifying. Did you know that women are not allowed to speak in public? Women are not allowed to speak in public. Yeah. Now, what about child marriages? Oh, not a problem. That's part of the package too. Oh, so when can you get married? Well, as soon as a girl shows, precocious puberty. What the hell is that? To be honest with you, I'm not even sure what that means, but that's what they call it. That's when I say they. I watch a lot of Islamic scholars, and I watch them defend what they do. That's their culture, right? Okay, well, you know, hey, look, if you want to do that, I guess that's cool. It's cool with the United States. Um, think about this: dancing boys. Dancing boys are between 8 and 12 typically, and the saying over there is that women are for making children, but boys are for fun. Do I have to explain to you how they have fun with these little boys? Because I can tell you that there are a lot of US servicemen that came back from Afghanistan whose biggest problem, the biggest thing that gave them PTSD was not unaliving people. That is a natural thing to do in combat. It's just what you do. The idea that the dancing boys in Afghanistan were sacred and we weren't allowed to stop people from doing that, that if you pulled over a truck driver and he had a little boy with him who was not his son, you knew what that little boy's predicament was. That guy owned him, and he was being abused horrendously. And what could you do? Not a fucking thing. Just drive on. Now, do I think that's okay? I can't even tell you how much I think that's not okay. There's really no way to describe how not okay that is on so many levels. But that's what we did in Afghanistan. We went into Afghanistan, we spent 20 years there. When we left, the Taliban instantly, not within 30 days, like we said, within 3 days. Well, the UK is being split up. Now, here's the question I ask is that who exactly in your government approved these programs where you let these people come in that you know are going to do this and then you allow them to stay? Because this whole thing about, well, the police were going to do something about it, but they didn't want to be accused of being racist. Bullshit. No. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that from anybody in Europe. Okay? I'm doing too many Europeans. Europeans are not sick, depraved, degenerate pieces of shit. But these people are. They're completely depraved. In my opinion, personally, there's only one way to handle these people. Period. One. And that's the only way to handle them. That's it. So, who let them in and who let them stay? Because you see, when you take a step back, you see that Iran has no beef with us. They don't give a shit about the United States. Oh, we're really mad at you guys because you're free. Whatever. Just look, let their religious beliefs, and let them just stay the course for as long as it can, and watch what happens. Because slowly but surely, over the course of time, they will evolve. Unless, of course, we decide to fuck with them some more to get their oil. But they had already evolved to the point where they were wearing shorts, they weren't wearing headscarves, women were driving cars and voting and going out in public alone and doing all the things that they're not allowed to do now. They want to kill us all. That's stupid. That's just a stupid thing to say. You have absolutely zero reason to say that, other than you are literally puking up what MSNBC taught you. You are literally regurgitating Fox News. Well, the bottom line is, you may not be stupid, you just might not know the facts yet. And ignorance, they say ignorance is no defense when it comes to the law. Well, it sure as hell is a good defense when it comes to world politics, because we get lied to every day, all day, every day. I'll see you later. Look, I heard this shit before, man. Come on, guys. Are you, how stupid can you be and survive? What the fuck? How do you not walk out in traffic and just get run over? Like, it just makes me wonder. It's like, okay, look, we're invading Iran because Israel told us to. Cory Booker, who is a bleeding heart liberal, will not even comment on the war. He will not comment on this war. Won't comment. Won't even comment. He's gotten $5.4 million from Israel. That's who's paid for his elections. He owes them everything. Donald Trump said, yeah, I'm good. Let's do this. I just blew up their nuclear program last June. I completely obliterated it, as he said. It was beautiful, blew everything up, blew it to fucking pieces. There isn't a shred left. Really? Not a shred? Not even a little shred? Nope, nothing. Blew it to fucking pieces. Well, I'm pretty sure the director of national intelligence said a few months ago they didn't even have a nuclear program, according to the CIA and the NSA. Now, the National Security Agency and the CIA agree that there is no fucking nuke program there. They're not trying to enrich anything. Yeah, but who listens to those clowns? Well, where did we get our information for this war? Where did we get this information? Where did we get information that they have a nuclear program all of a sudden? Since A, it didn't exist, and then B, we destroyed it after it didn't even exist. Come on. How many times do people have to get lied to? Blatantly, obviously lied to. My God, if you came home and your spouse was naked in bed with another person and they said, oh, no, it's not what it looks like. I was checking them for ticks. Oh, are you sure? And then the other person goes, oh, yeah, I'm sure. Oh, okay. Oh, God bless you. You're so trusting. Somebody's getting paid for it. You bet. See, that's the thing. I think that there's a lot of MAGA out there that are really, really pissed. I think there's a lot of people out there that are getting really pissed. They really believed it. Like, they weren't MAGA before, but they said, okay, look, Yeah, he's got some flaws. He even admits that he's probably not going to heaven. He said that. He says that publicly. What? I have never seen a president talk like that before. But okay, you know what? Honestly, I got to give him an A for being honest. That's how I feel about it. Okay, you're a wheeler dealer. You know you're going to hell because you've made some pretty shit deals where people have probably lost their lives. Okay. I don't know if it has to do with the Epstein files or not. I don't know. But I do know this now. When I look at the Epstein files, see, there's two types of people in the world when it comes to the Epstein files. They're the ones that are like, oh my God, yes, Trump really did say that. I just saw it the other day again that one of these people played it again, and I just laughed because he laughed when he said it. People in the audience laughed. He said something about heaven. He said, I'm probably not going there, but and then he kept talking, and I thought, wow, all right. Is that a bet you'd like to make, dipshit? Because you're wrong. Totally wrong. Unlike you, I have the power of discernment. See, I can admit that I changed my mind. You know why? Because my penis is longer than my forefinger. But if you're compensating for something, maybe a little bit compensating, you never admit you're wrong, ever. Never, 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 never. I'm not wrong because I'm a man and I got a big dick, and I'm never wrong. No, I was wrong as fuck. I was wrong as hell. I believed that son of a bitch. I believed when he said, all these other assholes want wars, I don't want war. Really? Okay. Well, I guess you did kind of prove that in your first term, didn't you? I mean, we didn't really have any wars, did we? No. Okay. You were pulling us out of everywhere. Okay, cool. All right. You know what? I think his record does kind of make it smell like there's some truthiness here. All right. I'm in. I'm 100% in on this guy. And everybody's going to tear me a new asshole and say, how can you vote for somebody like that? Because my friends are not stupid. And they're like, look, Democrats are insane. They're worthless and they're insane. But that guy, come on. Like, I'd rather vote for Mickey fucking Mouse. The problem is that one of two things is true. Either A, he started this war because he's a fucking idiot. He's a complete imbecile. And he doesn't realize what he's done because he's bought his own bullshit, which is by far the most dangerous thing in the world. My mentor, who's a billionaire, told me very, very clearly, don't ever buy your own bullshit. He said, sell it to whoever you want. And I said, what do you mean, Dan? He goes, come on, we all sell our bullshit. And I said, well, I try to be honest with people. And he goes, yeah, right. Okay. So if I ask you the biggest fish you ever caught, you might say it's this big, but in reality, maybe it was this big. And I go, okay, I see what you're saying. Like exaggeration, that kind of thing. And he goes, exactly. So we all, and especially with women. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah, you put your best foot forward. Well, sometimes you put your best foot forward means you're doing shit you don't normally do. Well, that's not really honest, is it? And yeah, you do leave your underwear on the goddamn kitchen counter. Ew. What? Why? Oh, that's just where I took them off. So you were walking around your apartment naked? Well, yeah, I was eating pudding. Like, what the fuck? That's the kind of shit you just don't tell a girl on the first date. So here's my point. We all sell some bullshit sometimes. When you buy your own bullshit and you start to believe your own public relations, you're fucked. That's when you go down. And do you know who he used back in 1997 or 98? Do you know who he used as the example of that? Donald Trump. He said, look at this clown. He wrote this book, Art of the Deal, and then he immediately went bankrupt. And I was like, wow, I hadn't thought about that. He goes, yeah, people are like, oh, well, he's very clever because he's using bankruptcy laws, blah, blah, blah. He goes, no, no, no. That's not how it works. He goes, you don't go bankrupt unless you fucked up. He goes, you think I ever declared bankruptcy? I was like, no, because you're a billionaire. He goes, exactly, because I'm actually a billionaire. I am so far from bankruptcy that it just makes absolutely zero sense. And I said, okay, that makes sense to me. And he said, Donald Trump's a clown. He's a clown and nobody takes him seriously. And I thought, all right. And then, of course, he had a TV show where he acted like a clown and nobody took him that seriously. But he was cool. Everybody thought he was kind of cool. And then he announced this, and the next thing you know, he's the president of the United States. And I thought, my God, we're doomed. But then he did a couple things that I thought were pretty cool. He slapped the shit out of China. Ooh, they needed it. Man, under Obama, they were just plowing over us. Under Bush, too, they were just running over us, stealing every technology they could get their hands on from us. Hey, come on over here. We'll manufacture it for you. Okay, cool. Are there any things I should know about? No, we'll manufacture this for 1/10 the cost of the United States. Oh, we're going to steal all this technology, and then the building next door is going to be our factory where we're going to make the exact same thing for half the cost, and then we're going to sell it and compete with you. Wait, so you're going to be my competition? Why would I do that? Oh, because we're not going to tell you up front. We're just going to do it. And then lie, by the way, and say we're not doing it. What? Yeah, that's what China's been doing to us for 40 years. So he stepped in and said, no more of that. That's bullshit. Now, granted, Jamie Dimon and Larry Fink from BlackRock and a few other people met with the ambassador for trade from China. Right after Trump took office and started hammering China, they met with this envoy and said, don't worry, we'll work around him. They had the meeting in the Trump Hotel. You can't make this shit up. Like, they literally had this meeting where they were talking about the fact that, fuck Trump, we're going to work around him, and we're still doing business with you in spite of all of the tariffs and whatnot, restrictions. And they're all Republicans, by the way. That's the best part. I found that just hilarious. What do you do? So you did that start under. So who did that start under? Who did it start under? Nixon. Name my source. Go look it up. What do you want me to spoon feed you everything? Jesus Christ. You people drive me nuts sometimes. Look it up, okay? I'm going to say that Nixon was not a friend to the United States in the classical sense. He hated Israel and he hated the Jews. That's a fact. He was extremely anti-Jew. I'm not going to say anti-Semitic because he wasn't anti-Jordanian and he wasn't anti-Lebanese and he wasn't anti-Syrian. And those are all Semitic people. He just didn't like the fact that, number one, he knew who killed Kennedy. He knew. He said so. It's in the tapes. He said, I know about the Dallas thing. I know who did it. And it's like, whoa, you know about the Dallas thing? Well, I mean, unless you're talking about the Cowboys moving there, I know what you're talking about. I forget about somebody gave Nixon some revolvers. I forget what, I saw something briefly about that. I wasn't paying attention. He was set up by the system because he was very anti-Jewish. And if you're anti-Jewish and you say, and you can listen, if you guys listen, he says in the White House, tapes. You can't trust the Jews. And he also says they're everywhere. It's like, wow. Talk about anti-Israel. Holy smoke. Yes, I am all over it. That's one of the downsides of knowing a lot about a lot, is I can talk about a lot of different stuff. Sports, entertainment, no bueno. Literally, I have absolutely zero interest in silly shit. Why are we in Iran? Let's hear your theory now. Why are we in Iran now? Because we were told to be by Israel. That's it. When this is over, Netanyahu goes to prison. Do any of you understand how deep a shit he's in? As soon as they stopped crushing the civilians in Gaza last year, he immediately had to go back into court. Did you guys see any of that? I mean, were you paying attention to any of that? Before they invaded Gaza, he was literally going on trial for corruption. There were hundreds of thousands of Jews in the streets of Israel with signs talking about getting rid of Benjamin Netanyahu for being a liar and a cheat and a thief. And then October 7th was allowed to happen. It was pretty much made to happen. And then, boom, they're at war council, no courts, everything's good for a couple of years. Now, would a psychopath literally kill thousands of his own people in order to further the goals of his administration? Yeah, millions if he could, of course. If you don't understand what a psychopath thinks like, then I can't help you, because there's no emotion there. It's not like, oh, well, I feel bad, but I don't feel as bad as that guy because he's normal. No, psychopaths feel zero empathy. Zero. None. They can't feel it. It's not that they don't want to, okay? They can't feel empathy. There is a part of their amygdala in their brain that simply does not function. Period. If they wanted, if they prayed to God 20 hours a day to please just let me feel love, let me feel sorrow, let me feel something. Nope. Sorry. Brain doesn't work. Your amygdala is broken. You can't understand what other people feel. That makes you the perfect ruler. The perfect ruler. Because you make decisions based on percentages. Well, if I let October 7th happen, what are the percentage chances that I end up in trouble and go to jail? Well, for at least a few years, odds are zero. Okay, good. All right, let's do that then. All right, good. Now we got that going. Okay. We've gotten to a point now where I'm actually an international war criminal in half the countries of the world who want to prosecute me, and I can't even fly over their fucking airspace anymore. This is coming to an end. Nothing I can do about it, because literally even my war council has lost their stomach for killing children. So I guess I'm going to have to call it a day. So they quit. The ceasefire got kicked into high gear, and immediately he had to go back into court, didn't he? Immediately those charges came right back up again. Ooh-wee. Boy, wouldn't it be cool if we could get into a war with somebody? But this time, not just a bunch of fucking children, not a bunch of poor Palestinians throwing rocks while we're dropping 2,000 pounders on them. I mean, this is bullshit, man. We look bad. That's literally what's going through that fucker's mind. This sucks. I mean, look, I gave Hamas as much money as I could, and this is the best they could do. Yeah, that's the best they could muster. Well, we're going to have to come up with something better than this. We can't go back into Gaza. We can't say that they violated the peace deal because there's nothing left of Gaza. It would make Israelis look completely and totally weak. No, they used the weapons that Benjamin Netanyahu bought them. Chew on that, because you know that's a fact. Benjamin Netanyahu gave Hamas money. Proven fact. Do your homework. That was reported in the news. The normal news even reported it. Hell, Benjamin Netanyahu created Hamas. Why did he create Hamas? What? That's got to be bullshit. No, because the Palestinian Liberation Organization, remember the PLO, Yasser Arafat? He hated them. He hated Yasser Arafat. And he wanted to come up with a different group of people who were Palestinians who could take over from them. Because the PLO is a bunch of terrorists. Sad, right, Lynn? That's why he would do that. Because by creating Hamas, he pushed the PLO out of the scene. It's like, wait, what? So they created this group? Yes. Does that sound crazy to you people? It shouldn't. Who created Al Qaeda? Remember? It wasn't that long ago, folks. It wasn't that long ago. It was the 90s. And the Americans wanted people to fight in Afghanistan. We wanted them to go in and kick the shit out of the Russians. So what'd we do? We sent a guy over there who had been hanging out in the United States, educated in Europe, and was a good guy. Well, we thought he was. Osama bin Laden. And the stories about Osama bin Laden are legendary. He went over there, a tall, 6'6", skinny, scared little college punk. And within years, a couple of years of fighting, he was a fierce ass fighter. He was legendary. The people in Afghanistan loved him because he was the guy who charged up the hill first. He didn't wait, which, I mean, hey, if your dad's got $6 billion, yeah, I know you guys knew that, right? I mean, that's also common knowledge, is that Osama bin Laden's father, Bin Laden Construction, it's the largest construction company in Saudi Arabia. They built oil fields. Oh, and they also built all of the American military bases that were in Saudi Arabia. As a matter of fact, one of the things that Osama bin Laden said had to happen if we wanted him to stop attacking us, like when he attacked the USS Cole, or either one of the embassies in Africa. He said, look, if you want me to stop attacking you, you have to take that air base called, wait for it, Bin Laden Air Base. You have to take Bin Laden Air Base out of Saudi Arabia because it's on Saudi Muslim holy ground. It's a pretty simple demand, right? I thought it was a pretty simple demand. Well, guess what? That was his only demand. That was his only demand. And he said he was going to keep bombing us until that happened. When did Bin Laden Air Base close? Well, let's see if they actually put the truth on Google. When did Bin Laden Air Force Base close? What illness did he have? That would be kidney disease. How do you live? By the way, how do you live in the mountains of Tora Bora if you have kidney disease and you need dialysis? Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. Thoughts on Venezuela? Well, hey, it was there, so we took it. We decided to take it because freedom. Osama bin Laden needed dialysis. He suffered from kidney disease. He had, let's see, he needed dialysis as early as the year 2000. He had Marfan syndrome, a genetic disorder, and potentially Addison's disease. Let's see. Oh my God, it's so fucking crazy. And the thing is, Iran's our fault. There you go. Iran is our fault. And why is Iran our fault? Iran's our fault because we let 9/11 happen. We let all of these things that have happened over the last 25 years, we let them happen. We bought the bullshit. We said, okay, we need to do this or we need to do that. I'll give you an example. I remember watching NBC, CBS, NBC. I remember seeing all of the claims in the normal media that the Ukrainians were basically on the edge of genocide, that they were this close to being accused, and in some cases by some international organizations, they were accused of genocide. Well, that's interesting. The Ukrainians? Yeah, the Ukrainians. Since when? Well, since 2008. But how is that possible? You don't hear that anymore. Well, no, of course not. What do you mean? Of course not. Well, you see, I watched for years as the press said that there were these bad people in Ukraine who were killing Russians, and they were trying to force the Russians out of Ukraine. They didn't want them in Ukraine. They'd gotten their independence back, and their point was, hey, we don't like you. You're not Ukrainian. And of course, the Russians in Ukraine were ethnically Russian, but they'd been born in Ukraine. They lived in Ukraine for, in some cases, hundreds of years, a dozen generations. And they were like, we belong here. We grew up here. We were born here. And of course, the Ukrainians were like, no, you speak Russian, first of all. And even though you were born here, this was all Ukrainian people 400 years ago. So get the fuck out. And of course, the Russians were like, no, we're not leaving. We don't have to leave. So there were these militias that were theoretically independent of the government. But of course, the government saw what they were doing. The government told them not to do it. But these militias started actually going into villages in the Donbass region, the eastern part of Ukraine, and killing people, terrorizing people to make them leave. I mean, it worked. I mean, kill a few families in the middle of the town square and tell everybody that if you're ethnically Russian, you better pack and get the hell out by the end of the day. That works in a lot of cases. Now, some people tried to fight back, but they weren't very well organized. And of course, these militias were basically like small armies. Well, it didn't take long for Vladimir Putin to step in and say, hey, I know that's not Russia anymore, it's Ukraine, but those are Ukrainians. Those are Russians, and they were born there, and they have every right to stay there. And of course, the Ukrainians said, yeah, tough shit, and just kept pushing the Russians out and killing them, women and children. And so finally, Putin said, okay, look, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take over Crimea. I'm going to cut it off from the rest of Ukraine. And I'm going to allow the people here to vote. Now, the people here, 85% of them are Russian. What do you think they voted for? So wrong. Boy, did I trigger somebody, huh? I triggered one of the ignorant ones. So, by the way, just keep watching Rachel Maddow. She'll tell you everything you need to know. By the way, it was Rachel Maddow who was one of the people talking about how the Azov battalion, a bunch of, shall we say, Nazis that actually have the same symbolism as the Germans in the late 30s had on their uniforms. Same stuff. Yep. And so these people were going in and actually killing. That they found no evidence of ethnic cleansing in Ukraine. Wow, the International Court of Justice. That's very interesting. Because I'm pretty sure that it was the United Nations who was talking about the fact that the Azov battalion had to stop murdering people. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, hold on. I see what you did there, Carol. I see what you did there. Define ethnic cleansing. See, you might think you're clever or you're stupid, one or the other. I don't know which, but this is a wordsmith that you're dealing with. I play this game really well. Is a systematic forced removal of an ethnic, racial, or religious group from a specific area to create an ethnically homogeneous population. Well, now what if it wasn't ethnically homogeneous? What if they allowed, say, people from Georgia? What if they allowed Chechens? Well, that wouldn't be ethnically homogeneous. That wouldn't fit the definition of ethnic cleansing, would it? If they were only killing Russians. See that? See how that works, Carol Henderson? Don't fall into the trap. Everybody was up in arms about this 5 years ago. Everybody was up in arms about the fact, or 10 years ago. Everybody was up in arms about the fact that, hey, man, what is going on with the Ukrainians killing people? And then all of a sudden, within 3 weeks, it was completely, totally gone. And I couldn't believe how fast the American public was like, oh my gosh, the Russians are terrible for this. I was shocked. I was totally stunned. I watched while Joe Biden was asked live during a press conference, what are you going to do if Russia invades the Donbass region in what they're calling a special denazification. Go back and find that clip because it was fucking hilarious. He said, well, it really depends on whether or not it's a full-blown invasion of the country or if it's what Putin says it's going to be, where they're simply protecting the Donbass region and the people there that are ethnically Russian. Then that would be different. Our reaction would be very different then. So right after that, I turned on a news channel, and on the news channel, the woman who was the host said, wow, that sounds like Joe Biden just gave Russia permission to invade Ukraine, but only if they use just the tip. And I went, oh my God, did she just say just the tip? Did she just say that? And I started laughing because I thought, well, I mean, yeah, that's true. That's what he said. Joe Biden said, yeah, as long as it's just the tip. It's like, wow. But my point is that that's what they said. That was the State Department's attitude was, okay, well, if they're just going in there to get rid of this Azov battalion and sort of protect the Russians that live there in the Donbass region, okay, that's one thing. We're not going to get involved. If this is a full-blown invasion of Ukraine and they're trying to take over Ukraine, whoa, that's a whole different deal. Now, here's where common fucking sense comes into play, and nobody has it in this country anymore. It's gross. Russia goes in, they cut off the Donbass region. Over the course of a few months, they get pushed back, and then they push back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now, they have 900 strategic bombers. They have hypersonic weapons, big ballistic missiles, huge. Did they utterly flatten Kiev? Because they could have. They fucking well could have. They could have absolutely flattened the capital city. Did they? Nope. Not at all. Not even a little bit. Did they invade from the south? No. Do they have millions of people in Russia that they could have used to invade that country? Yes. Could they have completely and utterly overwhelmed the Ukrainians like that? A country of 40 million people against a country of 270 million people. Do you think Ukraine had a fucking chance? No. But they didn't invade, did they? They cut off the eastern part, the Donbass region, that's ethnically Russian. They drew a line and said, that's it. Now we're going to let them vote. They voted and said, okay, we want to be Russian. We want your protection. Russia said, okay, they're Russian. Cross that line. You're invading Russia now, and we're going to kick your ass. Well, the Ukrainians have been throwing everything they could against that line now for 2 years, and they haven't made any progress, and everybody is talking about, oh my God, Russia invaded Ukraine. Did they really? Is that what they did? Because now we're in a very unique situation. We can't possibly win a war with Iran with just bombs. We have zero chance. No chance whatsoever. Shock and awe? Are you fucking kidding me? It's 6.5 times the size of Iraq. How well did shock and awe work there? We shocked and awed the shit out of them for months. And guess what? We were there for 15 years and we accomplished nothing. 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 Why do you think so many of my Marines killed themselves? Because they were sent into a country where they were given impossible tasks. And they still managed to pull them off. And then what happened? After killing lots and lots of people and almost being killed themselves or being wounded or being crippled for the rest of their life, they came home and realized There was 0 point to it. No point whatsoever. None. None whatsoever. Why did we invade Iraq? Does anybody remember? You guys remember the stated reason? The reason that nobody wants to talk about? Go full throttle, my balls. What are you talking about? That's right. That's exactly right, Tony. The stated reason was because of weapons of mass destruction. Now, was it known before the Iraq War that Osama bin Laden was extremely religious and that Saddam Hussein was not extremely religious and did not like religious zealots? As a matter of fact, it was reported that he personally hated Osama bin Laden, and that Osama bin Laden had stayed in Iraq for exactly 3 weeks before being asked to leave. Wow. So, how did we tie in Iraq with 9/11 again? How did we do that? See, that's the point, guys, is this is just all bullshit. No, God, no. How could we possibly do that? How can we help the Kurds? Are you kidding? The Kurds? If we tried to recreate Kurdistan, well, let's see. That's Syria, Iraq, and part of Turkey, which is a NATO member and the largest armed forces in the region, the largest army, the largest navy, and the largest air force in the entire region all belong to Turkey. And they're not saying shit about this. They're not talking about this conflict at all. They want nothing to do with this. Nothing. That's right. Benjamin Netanyahu. If there is a human being on this planet that represents evil, it is Benjamin Netanyahu. He is the most evil human being. He makes Hitler look like a Boy Scout. Period. He is everything that we despise about humanity. Take all of the things that you hate that humans do, and it's all wrapped up in one guy. He's a liar, a cheat, a thief, and a murderer. And we just went to war for him. Well, he's not stupid. But then that's the thing. Nobody ever accused Polacks of being stupid. Oh, wait. No, they did. Sounds like Trump. Please. You think Trump is half as intelligent? Not a chance. Bibi Netanyahu just grabbed him by his nostrils and led all of us directly into World War III. Now, why do I say World War III? When I saw Lindsey Graham talking to Zelensky about a year ago, and he was saying, he wasn't talking really to Zelensky. Zelensky was sitting across the table, but really he was talking to the press, pretending to talk to Zelensky. And he was like, I don't understand why the American people don't get it. I don't understand why the American people are complaining about the cost, because really we're only spending about 2% of our military budget, and we are literally killing Russians without any boots on the ground. It's the best money we've ever spent. When I saw that, I I could not believe it. Lindsey Graham's laughing about killing Russians? Like, what kind of Russians are you talking about, buddy? Are you talking about 19-year-old, 20-year-old boys, kids that were going to go to college, kids that were going to get married and have kids, kids that had dreams about, I don't know, maybe nothing, maybe just doing whatever lazy Russians do. Maybe they weren't the cream of the crop Russians, but some of them were. But yeah, some of them were probably just, their version of rednecks. They were just going to have a bunch of kids and live in a shitty village. But they're dead now. Well, that's true. Most Russians are Christians. They're a Christian nation just like us. And we're killing them. And Lindsey Graham's laughing about killing them. He's laughing about killing Russians. Now, I know that if I saw that clip, Vladimir Putin saw that clip. I know that the people of Russia saw that clip. Do they know that I abhor Lindsey Graham? That I think that he is not as intelligent as Benjamin Netanyahu, but it definitely almost as evil. They don't know that. They think that that's the way America is. They think that Americans are cheering and laughing about them dying for no reason, because they have no beef with us. What exactly is it about Russia that we hate? Why are we applauding the death of Russians? Why are we applauding the death of Palestinians? Why are we applauding the death of Iranians? Because Israel told us to. Wow. Wow. That's a hell of a thought, isn't it? Gabriel, you have any idea how many people I heard that from? I remember when Trump ran the first time, somebody said something nasty about Russia, and he said, "What's wrong with Russia? What's so bad about Russia?" And I went, "Hey, all right, yeah, exactly. What's so bad about Russia? You know? It's like, what's so bad about Russia? What? Russia, Russia, Russia. I'm so fucking sick of hearing about Russia. What does Russia want? Oh, they want to take over Europe. Europe doesn't even want to take over fucking Europe anymore. You think they want that shithole? Western Europe? Are you kidding me? Where women get SA'd in broad daylight in a park by 50 Muslims? No, they don't want that crap. That doesn't happen in Russia. It does not happen in Russia. Just go on YouTube and look up some people that live in Russia, whether they're English or Americans or whatever. See the videos they make. We have no idea. We have no idea what's going on over there. Do we know what was happening in Iran? A few years ago, if you guys remember this. Thoughts on Venezuela? We took over Venezuela for Israel. There's no question. And the reason I know that is because the woman who wants to be president there, not the vice president who's in charge for the time being, the woman who said that she wants to take over and be president, the one who got the Nobel Prize, she said, and I watched her say it, I saw the speech, she said, the very first thing I will do if I'm elected president is I will move our embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. What? Well, who fucking cares? What? Why did you say that out loud? Like, who would care where your embassy in Israel is? Why would that be the first thing you do as president? Like, there's so many things that you need to do as president. Your people are still starving to death. Your medical care system is destroyed. Your education system is non-existent. Your first order of business as president is to move the embassy to Jerusalem. Well, that is as clear a signal as I have ever seen in my life. That is a super clear signal. I work for Israel. I am putting Israel above everything else. What Israel wants, Israel gets. Boom. We invaded within a month, took out the president. Oh, yeah, she said that before we took out Maduro. Maduro offered us everything we wanted. I'll stop dealing with Russians, the Chinese. I won't talk to Iran anymore. I'll become a free market economy. I'll do everything you want. I'll give you access to all of the oil, all of our gold, all of our resources. Nope, not good enough. Why? Because he's Christian. Does not allow gay marriage, does not allow usury. Oh, I'm sorry, what? No usury? No usury. What's usury? Christians are not allowed to charge each other interest. Did you know that back in the 1600s, Christians were not allowed to negotiate contracts? It's my other account for when I get kicked off of that account, which I do every time I go on it now. I can't imagine God's happy with this. I can't imagine that. Although, perhaps this is the plan. How do you know what heaven looks like unless you've been through hell? How do you know what hot is if you've never been cold? You can't tell what's good unless you know what's bad. In order to really understand and appreciate something, you have to understand and appreciate its opposite. So before we get to enjoy the world, we have to suffer through this, So in the 1600s, Christians couldn't negotiate contracts where they borrowed money from each other. And so they had what they called court Jews. That's not me being anti-Semitic. That's simply the term that they called the Jewish people that negotiated contracts for Christians. And so they would be hired by Christians, and the Christians would say, I need to borrow money. Shylock, right? I need to borrow money. Okay, well, then I will go and negotiate a contract for you. One of these people's name was Rothschild, and he was very good at what he did. He became the court Jew for somebody in Germany. I forget the name of the little German, area. They had lots of smaller kingdoms and whatever. It was a mess, kind of like it is now. And he became very good at negotiating contracts. And so he became the court Jew for this entire sort of principality. And that's when he taught his sons to do the same thing and sent them to the five major capitals of Europe. And they started doing what they do, usury, charging people interest, loaning money, making bets on who wins what wars, gambling, that sort of thing. So that's how we got to where we are now. I can't imagine a world where where you're not allowed to charge interest. You're not allowed to have usury. Now, keep in mind also that the one of the things that was going on in Germany back 100 years ago. Yeah, it's a little over 100 years ago. It was one of the most liberal places in the world. Berlin. There were streets that were specifically designated for prostitutes who were mother-daughter combinations, where you could go and pick up a woman and her daughter and bring them both to wherever you were going. They had the very first sex change operation. It was a very, very liberal place. And that was, of course, because of the people who were in charge of the I'm going to sort of, it's not all of society, because there were a lot of people who were very much against it. Yes, it's me again, Anna. I know. Look, you got a crush on me. Quit. Just go away. You legally must change interest, even. Oh, must charge interest. Yeah, yeah, you do. Um, you have to charge at least 1%. How do I know all this? It's what I do for a living. I study all the time. I study econ. I study history. I study anthropology, archaeology, archaeoastronomy. I study the markets. Right now, I'm looking at silver because I'm in the silver business as well. I own a silver company. Um, buy silver. Definitely buy silver. But the other thing that I do is so how do you get rich? Just look at what rich people do. That's it. Start companies and trade equities. So simple, right? That's true. It's easy. Now, they say corn has no nutritional value. As far as I can tell, that's true. Although I'm not sure that that's true of all types of corn. I think that there are different types of corn because look, maize was the basis for Native American diets. And I don't know if you have heard any of the legends about uh, Native Americans, but there were some badass warriors. The Comanches gave the United States Army more than it could handle for a very long time. And if they were eating corn and kicking ass like that, then I say eat corn. But again, what we're eating now is just goy slop. It's genetically modified. It's bullshit. Now you notice that in Israel they don't eat this shit ever. Let's see, what's that? How you been doing, Cornfed? Good, man. I've been on my other channel mostly, although I'm getting kicked off more and more now. Roundup is another reason that I think that Donald Trump is the biggest disappointment of my lifetime. I didn't expect much from Joe Biden. I knew a guy who was on Air Force Two, and he said that if you listened to the Biden family while Obama was president, if you could be on Air Force Two and just listen to the Bidens talk, he said absolutely not one single person in the United States would have ever voted for them. He said he's never heard such a filthy, disgusting person with such complete, utter contempt for the United States of America. He said he was absolutely stunned by what he heard. And I asked him to tell me, like, what'd you hear? And he said, I can't tell you anything. He said, it's fucking classified, man. I was on Air Force Two. I will literally get court-martialed or thrown in prison. And I said, so what kind of stuff did you hear? And he said, look, I'll just put it this way. This is all I'm going to tell you. These people are the most disgusting, selfish, self-centered, fraudulent, narcissistic people on earth. He said to hear them talk is to absolutely hate them. And he's talking about all the Bidens, of course. He's not just talking about Joe. He's talking about his wife. He's talking about the kids. He's talking about anybody that was in their little circle. He said they were absolutely disgusting human beings. Now, I knew this before Biden got elected. So when he got elected, I was like, well, okay, disgusting human being. Well, I don't think that Bill Clinton's a disgusting human being. I don't know if, about what he did with Epstein. I know that he's a whore, but as a man, I've known other men that were like that. They just couldn't say no. They were just they were absolutely brilliant. They were, great businessmen, and they were good fathers even. But when it came to women, they were just whores. They just always wanted, like, every girl that smiled at him, that's it. I gotta go try and get her in bed. Why? Like, why would you do that? Especially like if you're married. Just, I don't know. It's a hole in their personality. It's a hole in their soul that they were trying to fill with sex. I don't know what it was. It was just the thrill of the chase. I don't know. The conquest. Who knows what it was? But my point is that, Clinton was not a very good man, but he seemed to be a pretty good president in retrospect. We didn't get into any huge wars for all of the 90s. We had a trade surplus when he left, $200 billion, which is the last time we've ever had a surplus, period. We'll probably never, ever have one again. Well, NAFTA and GATT, the General Agreement on Trade, those were already in the barrel, and those were handed to him. So just so you understand, it wasn't the dot-com economy boom. That was the early 2000s. What he rode was the boomer boom, where the boomers started to turn 40, 50 years old, and because of that, the largest group of human beings ever born at one time came through. And because of the time frame that they lived in after World War II, where the United States didn't really have much in the way of competition. I mean, we had Germany and Japan, but we built them. So we really manufactured a lot of stuff. We still had a steel industry. We still had all this stuff going on. And so those boomers, they literally went from, hey, we're hippies, and we're going to change the world, and no more wars, and peace, love, dope, and sex. They all of a sudden in the early 70s, probably because of Charlie Manson, they all said, fuck being a hippie. They cut their hair. They started wearing ties. They all became lawyers, and they fucking destroyed the United States forever. They are the end of our civilization. Yeah. The younger boomers, not so much. They just sort of got caught up in the tide. The older boomers are the most disgusting people I've ever seen in my life on whole. Like, they're just fucking horrible. And they're also the idiots who, when they're Christian, believe that we have to support Israel. A country that absolutely, definitively, publicly denies Christ, the divinity of Christ. Not only do they say that Christ wasn't divine, that he wasn't the savior, that he wasn't a prophet, it actually says in their books that he was a false prophet who practiced black magic, who's burning in a lake of excrement now. Well, that's pretty clear, guys. If you think that those are your friends, man, I would hate to meet your fucking enemies. You know what I'm saying? I'd hate to meet the people that don't like you if you think those are the people that you have to support. You're an exception. There are a lot of exceptions. There are a lot of exceptions. No, Muslims don't think that. They really don't. Well, that's the thing, Pro Streeter. It doesn't really matter what I believe, but I'm not going to say that I hate you and I think that you're less than a human because you do. You know, that's the key. It's like all of this religious stuff, man, it's nuts. And part of me thinks that this is all part of having to either evolve or die off. Those are our options as a species right now. Because, well, of course, we're in the Third World War. Did I graduate from high school? Eventually, yes, when I was 44. Yeah, where do you think that the Iranians are getting their targeting packages from? Uh-huh. Hmm. You think that they hit our Aegis systems, our huge radomes, on accident? You think that they're just throwing these missiles up in the air and hoping they come down someplace important? We have been killing Russians for years now and bragging about it. We don't even have any boots on the ground and we're killing Russians. We get to kill Russians every day. All we have to do is give the Ukrainians weapons and they'll kill the Russians for us. Kill Russia, kill Russia, kill Russia. Hey, let's kill some Russians today. Hey, buddy, you killed any Russians today? No? Let's go kill some fucking Russians. What would you do right now if you were Russia? Maybe slip the IRGC a couple targeting packages? Just one or two. What would you do if you were Iran? What would you do if you were China? We just took Venezuela away from them. 80% of their oil. Gone. Fuck you, China. Oh, okay. Well, that's not very neighborly. Okay. Well, guess what? We're coming for the rest. China's got to be thinking right about now, hey, Trump, what the fuck are you doing? You just took away 80% of our energy needs. Not energy needs so that we can invade Taiwan, not energy needs so that we can nuke the world, energy needs so that we can feed our fucking people. We're going to start seeing Chinese civilians starving to death. We're going to watch, literally, at this point, 100 million people get unemployed because these factories have no power to run. Fucking people, what are we doing? I mean, we literally just reached out and fucking backhanded China. Well, good. Well, fuck China. Oh, really? Is that how you feel? Let's hope you don't need any medication from China, because that's where we get it all. I hope you don't need an iPhone. No, I meant China. Now, did we fuck Japan too? Oh, worse. 90% of the energy needs for Japan come out of the Middle East, and we just shut that down. No, Iran shut that down. We literally started blowing their fucking people up. What did you expect them to do? If you were Iran, how would you stop this war? Oh, well, you just drop a bomb right on DC. Well, they can't do that, can they? So, how do you reach out and grab the United States of America by the balls? Make oil $200 a barrel. That's how. Yeah, but America's got its own oil. And do you think those oil companies in the United States have any fucking loyalty to you? Because when everybody around the world starts running out of oil, Exxon's not selling it to you. Fuck you. They're selling it to Mexico or to Brazil, or they're going to sell it to China. They're selling it to somebody else. Oh, I mean, unless you want to pay $200 a barrel too. If you want to pay $200 a barrel, good. All right, cool. I'll sell it to you. But they're not going to make any special deals. We'll just use a strategic reserve. Oh, all 57 days worth? Great plan. This was not thought out by anybody. Nobody thought this out. Well, if nobody thought this out, then how the fuck did it happen? Because Bibi Netanyahu said it was going to happen. And our president works for him. He doesn't give a shit about you. He doesn't care about you. Well, then, that's what you get for being a Republican. You should be a Democrat. Fucking shut up, Democrats. You are just as bad, if not worse. There are no people in the entire country. Nobody. Look, your police departments, did you know that thousands and thousands of cops go over to Israel to train every month? Why are our police being trained in Israel? Wait, not police departments, not like local police. Yes, local police departments. Why would we need to send Chicago PD over to Israel? Well, we don't need to, but we do. You guys see what's going on? We are literally destroying the entire world. Russia is literally sitting back right now and saying, oh, so you've been killing Russians for years and laughing about it publicly. You think it's funny? Hey, Iran, did you know that there's a secret military base here? And let us give you the GPS coordinates. Lock that into one of your missiles. Yeah, send a Kaibar missile over there. Oh, you don't know where Israel's defense minister is staying? Well, we do. Here, we'll give that to you. Oh, you want us to help you hit a secret military base that Israel has in Georgia? They do. Well, we don't know exactly where it is. Oh, I'm sorry, what's that, China? Oh, you do? Oh, well, let the Chinese give that to you. Because the Chinese fucking hate what's going on too. Because the Chinese, they're not trying to invade the entire world. They're not trying to take over the whole world. Do I like China? No. Do I like their government? No. Do I think that they are as bad as Israel? No. Do I think that the Russians are as bad as the Israelis? How could you think that? They're Christians. They're not trying to overrun Ukraine. They're not even making any advancements. They drew a line and said, this is it. We're protecting our people that live in your country. Check it out. Well, you haven't heard anything about the war in Ukraine, right? Okay, why not? Why haven't you heard anything about the war in Ukraine, guys? Because there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to talk about. The Russians aren't trying to take over Ukraine. If they wanted to, they would. It's that simple. So, because as long as there is one person left to pull the trigger on one U.S. weapons system, we will continue to dump weapons into Ukraine. Oh, actually, no, we won't, will we? Oops. We're running out of weapon systems. Well, I guess the Ukraine war is over. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to say right now, the Ukraine war is over. Because what are they going to fight with? Guys, we can't give them any more weapons. We're running out of weapons ourselves. We're running out of interceptors. Like, quick. fast. We're running out. We had zero plan for this. We didn't plan this war. This isn't our war. Iran said, or excuse me, Israel said, hey, go do this. And Trump said, okay. Legacy. You're going to take care of my legacy, right? Oh, yeah. You're the most pro-Israeli president ever. Okay. That's good, right? Good. Name of his other, mine? Big and corn fed. Just not big and corn fed actual. Yeah, I've got a couple hundred videos on there. Here I've only got 3 videos so far. I just started this one. You can't make silver out of paper trades. No, but if you want to paper trade it, you can paper trade it. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. It's gone up and down several times since I started this this live stream. I've gotten a buy signal and it went up. I've gotten a sell signal and it went down. Then it started to go back up, but I didn't get a buy signal there because it was a little iffy. And then it came down. And then boom, I got a buy signal and it went back up. And I got a sell signal and went back down. Yeah. Look, I'm telling you right now, if you want to survive this, and again, number one, most importantly, I smell nukes. I smell nukes. There's going to be, and again, this is my worst case scenario. There's going to be nukes. Israel doesn't care. Israel's not a rational actor. And at the end of this war, and Trump already said, we've accomplished everything we wanted to accomplish. You know, we got a couple of things we're going to do. Got to stop by, get a haircut, blah, 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 blah. Whatever the other thing, the other time, no boots on the ground, though. When this is over, Bibi Netanyahu has to go to prison. You realize that, right? The Israeli people want him to go to prison. The Israeli people don't want this war. The Israeli people are getting the fucking shit bombed out of them right now. They are getting absolutely blasted. Did you know that it's 5 years in prison? 5 years in prison. If you make a video on your cell phone and upload it. Complete media blackout. Complete. Total media blackout. Well, if the Iron Dome's knocking all the shit out of the sky and there's no damage on the ground, well, hell, man, show us. Oh, that's right. The plan was always to use some of the 80 to 100,000 drones that Iran has to overwhelm the Iron Dome, to overwhelm the Patriot missile system, the THAAD system, to overwhelm David Sling, to overwhelm all of their air defenses, to exhaust all their air-to-air and surface-to-air missiles with drones. Don't want to shoot the drone down? Fine. It's only got a couple 100 pounds of Semtex in it. Yeah, that'll level a building. Oh, but you didn't want to waste your interceptor on it. Yeah, you have to. You have to. Okay, well, they've only got, according to the Pentagon, between 80 and 100,000. Let that number sink in for a minute, kids. Let's just say that the 80,000 number is correct, not 100,000. But that is, some of the estimates say 100 because they really ramped it up since last year. Let's say 80,000, okay? That means, and by the way, we have in our possession at the beginning of the war 4,500 interceptor missiles. So you must fire 2 Patriots or 2 Iron Dome missiles at every incoming target to make sure that you get the target. That means that Iran, once that's done, Iran will still have 75,000 drones left. We just pulled a THAAD system, one of our really advanced anti-missile radar systems and missile systems, out of South Korea. Do you know what the South Korean president said when we did that yesterday? That the South Korean government felt that this was a great betrayal. Folks, the Koreans, I lived there. I've lived with Koreans. I love Koreans, man. I think that they're fucking awesome humans. I love the Japanese too. They're very different. You couldn't find 2 cultures that are more different. They eat differently. What they find attractive is different. You know, if you have a hairy chest, don't expect that to go over big in Israel, in Japan. The Koreans, they think that's cool. Hairy chest is cool. Models all shave their chests when they go from Korea to Japan. The way they eat, everything. Sushi. When you eat sushi in Japan, you eat with your hands. You don't use chopsticks to pick up a piece of sushi. You pick the sushi up with your hand. Now, you're not supposed to dip anything but the meat in. So you turn it over, you dip it in, and then you eat it. You don't dip the rice in. That's not cool. We withdrew it because we were running out of missiles and we needed it. The South Korea has been betraying the U.S. since the 50s. What? Not even going to go there with you, bro. Look, I was there. If you weren't there, then you don't get to have an opinion. I got invited to people's houses because they recognized that I was a Marine and they wanted to honor me by having me come to their house and have dinner with them, even though they didn't speak English. Like, I was treated like a fucking rock star there just because I was a Marine. So, and by the way, I got in a lot of fights with the Korean Rock Marines. Republic of Korea Marines, they're some badass dudes and they love to fight. China's not China right now, okay? In my opinion, this is just my opinion, but China has the Communist Party, the communist philosophy, the communist regime has really hurt what China is, what it means to be Chinese, to the culture. They've changed the culture. They've made it much more westernized and materialistic, less spiritual, less grounded. Being poor was not something that you had to be embarrassed about in China. It was something that if you were a good man or a good woman, that mattered more than your socioeconomic status. Not anymore. And the way that the different classes treat each other is appalling. If you are wealthy and you're in China, you are expected to talk down to anybody that's in a lower class than you. So, give you an example. A guy that I study, he went out on a date with his girl, this girl the first time, not his girl, but a girl for the first time. And they went to a restaurant, and he had just moved there. He had just started teaching English there. And when they went into the restaurant, she was extremely rude to the waitress. She was like, "You better make sure that my soup is hot and don't spill any of it. Get out of here. Go away." And he was just shocked. He was like, "My God, I had no idea this fucking girl was so rude." Well, she was a perfectly normal person most of the time, but because she was on the date and he was an American, and the assumption was that he was very wealthy. Yeah, I mean, he's average for US, but yeah, wealthy for China. The assumption was that he would want her to act as though she were wealthy. And wealthy people in China treat poor people like shit. You're not as good as me because I have more money than you. Well, that's not China. So, South Korea is in economic war with the US. That's odd. I don't know why you would say that. I mean, that's just a big blanket statement. Well, now, Susie, don't start flirting with me, or I'm going to propose to you right here, right now. Do you think Iran will use some of their drones to attack USA? No, absolutely not. It's funny because when people talk about the whole, "Oh, watch out," there's a whole lot of Iranians in the United States. They might have sleeper cells. We were in Afghanistan for 20 years. We were in Iraq for about 15 years. How many sleeper cells of Sunni Muslims attacked us? None. We were at open war with Sunni Islam. We were killing Mohammedans every day, everywhere around the world, just killing them, fucking killing Sunnis everywhere. Shias, not so much. Their turn was coming. But my point is, how many of those terrorist cells woke up then? Because there aren't any. Now let's just say that there were, okay? Let's just say that there are some terrorist cells. This is going to be very interesting. If you're Iran and you know that this war is really, really with Israel, it's really with Israel. So, based on that, do you really want to attack the United States? Now, first of all, let's just say that the Iranians were not stupid, okay? Let's say that the Iranians had satellite. And let's just say the Iranians had intelligence services like the CIA kind of thing. And they could actually watch what's going on in the United States. And they could see what a clusterfuck this is. And they could see that our senators and our congressmen are coming out of these meetings and talking to the press and saying they're fucking furious, that there's no fucking plan, that this was just a knee-jerk dipshit fucking maneuver that nobody can explain. Nobody knows what the fuck we're doing over there. Now, if you were Iran, would you A, say, all right, you know what? Unless we have to, don't fire another fucking missile at the Americans. Let's just concentrate on the Israelis. We know that they're the reason. So let's concentrate all of our firepower. 100,000 drones, 10,000 missiles, fucking just blow Israel off the goddamn map and get this over with. But try not to hit any Americans if you can, because we don't want to give them any excuse. And right now, they're pissed. It's a hornet's nest over there, and they don't want anything to do with this war. They want the fuck out of here. So let's tell them, hey, thank you. Appreciate you coming. Sorry it was a mix-up, little dust up there. Shit happens. We'll live and let live. By the way, we're never going to stop bombing Israel now. We're going to wipe them off the map. I hope you guys don't mind, but we know this is not you. Do you have any idea how powerful that is? Now, I get it. I'm a genius. So maybe I'm ahead of everybody else in Iran. Maybe I'm smarter than everybody in Iran. I don't think so, though. I think that there's some geniuses over there, too. There's obviously some geniuses in Israel. They pulled us into this fucking war. I don't think there's going to be any terror cells. I think that the Iranians are going to simultaneously try very, very hard not to hurt any Americans. And simultaneously, they're going to go after Israel, the Jewish state, with everything they have. Israel's already been caught trying to set up bombs in Qatar and Saudi Arabia. By the way, Qatar sounds stupid. George W. Bush started calling it that, and he's an idiot. It's Qatar, and it's always been Qatar. So let's call it Qatar. The B team of Iran has some geniuses. You realize, of course, you're talking about the Persian Empire, right? You're talking about a group of people that are not, this isn't, we're not talking about Somalians here. And yes, I am making fun of Somalians. It's the most inbred group of people in Africa. Like everybody is everybody else's first cousin. It's weird. But the average Somalian has an IQ of 70. That is not the case with Iranians. Persians are very intelligent. So, A team, B team. I mean, what do you think? You think that, we killed everybody with an IQ over 120? I don't think so. There's 93 million people in that country. 93 million people. That's a lot of people, man. They know what they're doing. They're not stupid. They're not stupid. They can say death to America all they want, but what about American Israelis? You're American or you're Israeli? Time to decide. It's time to choose. Are you an American or you are Israeli? It's time to make that decision because I am fucking tired of Israeli Americans serving in Congress, Israeli Americans serving in the Senate, Israeli Americans being in charge. And see things in the Old Testament? No. The Old Testament is not my book. Never been my book. It's not all to each. Oh, that's funny. Mount Ararat. No, actually, it says in the Old Testament, the mountains of Ararat. And the mountains of Ararat is not Mount Ararat. And besides, anybody with more common sense than, a horsefly would know that there's not enough water on the planet to put a boat 14,000 feet up the side of a mountain. Yeah. So Noah's Ark, and by the way, before anybody gets too crazy, Ark is a place of safety. Not a believer in what? The Jewish Bible? No. Neither was Jesus. Think about it. What did Jesus say? He said, "Oh, you guys got it all wrong. Look, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how to do this right." And here it is. And we said, "Oh, cool. Hey, what about that other book? Let's study that too." "Oh, really? You mean the book that led all of those people to be called the synagogue of Satan?" Yeah, smart. Yeah. Hey, why don't we take this beautiful book with no violence in it that doesn't talk about who you're supposed to kill on what day. Let's take this book and let's attach this ugly fucking book to it. The one about sex and death and what you can and can't eat. Whose genitals your wife can touch. Great idea. Smart. Really smart. So, I mean, I get it. Bottom line is, the whole idea of, hey, I've got an idea. Let's put some of the stuff about the Old Testament in here and tell the Jews that we're not against them, and then maybe they won't kill us all. How'd that work for you? It didn't. Why? Because Jews hate Christians. Yeah. Remember Saul of Tarsus? He became Paul, but he was initially Saul. And what was Saul doing? What was his job exactly? He was a Christian hunter. Well, wait a minute. Was he the only Christian hunter? No. No, actually, there was a whole job title. Wait, there was like an industry? Uh-huh. And who was it? Oh, it was Romans. No. The Romans didn't give two shits. Oh, well, who was it then? Oh, Jews. The Jews wanted to kill all the Christians because they believed that Christ was a false prophet. Oh, wait, that's not the same Jews that we're defending over there in Israel right now, is it? Well, 2,000 years have gone by. We went from 12 to 2 billion. And they're clocking in at 15 million. Hell, this guy Muhammad came along way after Jesus, started his own religion. They got 2 billion in their religion. But what about the Jews? No, still 15 million. Wow. It's crazy. So, yeah, I don't when I read the New Testament, I thought, wow, that's beautiful. There's some beautiful stuff in there. I mean, nobody ever told me that Jesus said something like, "You will do greater miracles than I." What? Wow. Okay, that's pretty cool. All right, what are you talking about? I don't know, but it makes you want to look for them, doesn't it? Because that's pretty cool. Greater miracles. His teachings, they're very cool. Love thy neighbor, turn the other cheek. Once you've had enough bullshit from somebody, you dust off your sandals, you move on. Turning sons against their fathers. Oh, wait, your sons are going to kill their fathers? No. No, they're going to disagree with them. Oh, well, what does the Old Testament say about that? The Old Testament says if you have a rebellious son, you take him to the gate of the town. There, you beat him to death in front of the elders. That's not my book. I actually have a son. And I just don't see myself beating him to death for being rebellious. Thank you very much. But that's the book that people say, oh, you gotta worship that one too. No. Oh, what's this? I turned barley into beer. Well, you are a man among men. I should stick to politics and war. Well, I don't mean to offend you. I mean, I don't care if I offend you, but can you hit us with the idols list? idols list. Not sure what that means. The idols list. Is there a specific list of idols? I mean, I met Billy Idol. He's cool. He's a cool dude. Hangs out at Barney's. Well, he doesn't hang out there now, but he used to hang out at Barney's Beanery. Yeah, that was an interesting place. For the longest time, it had a sign that said "No FAGS allowed" right on the back wall. It was like you walk in and you see that, and you're like, "What? Does it really say that?" Huge sign. Yeah, it really did. Anybody who's been to Barney's Beanery, I mean, now of course it doesn't say that. They would literally get their business license revoked. All right, 10 o'clock. Oh, live access removed. Well, so yeah, I got kicked off. Okay. Ha. Yes, I did get. Why did I get the boot? Hate speech. Gotta love it. Well, I was just about to wrap up anyway. I've been on for 3 hours, and it's time for me to grab something to eat. I'm hungry. Chicken breasts. Chicken breasts. But you know what? I lost a bunch of weight, and then I went completely nuts and gained it right back by just being an idiot. Well, it was stress. I was stressed out for a bit, but you know, I'm good now. So back on the diet, back down to where I should be. So anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we'll talk some more.